No. Please.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. This meeting is called in pursuant to Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of April 11th, 2023, with instructions for internet access, was included in a meeting notice sent to Berlin County Times and the Courier Post on January 4th, 2023, and advertised in said newspapers on January 6th, 2023, and January 10th, 2023, respectively, posted on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building on January 4th, 2023, and has remained continuously posted as required under statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Can we all stand for the flag salute? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can we get a roll call?
Mayor Klaus,
Yes, here.
Mr. Montgomery,
Yes.
Mr. Levinson.
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore.
Here.
Mrs. Evans.
Here.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve the minutes of March 14th, 2023?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Can we have a roll call? Yeah.
Mr. Levinson.
Yes.
Mrs. Evans.
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore.
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery.
Yes.
Mayor Klaus.
Yes. All right, we have some reports: tax collector, code enforcement, fire official, construction, and emergency services report, and that's it for now. So can we accept them? Do we need a roll call on that?
No, all in favor is fine.
Okay. All in favor?
You need a
Aye.
motion first.
Aye. Aye. Okay, we're going to open up comments from the public for agenda items only. So anybody would like to come up, come on up. State your name, your address.
Well, she's coming up with item number 14, part of this, part of the agenda, or?
Is it?
We'll see what she has to say first, and then I'll look that up.
Hello, good
Item
evening.
14 is
Deborah Harris,
executive
7
session.
Elsinore Drive. My comment is in regards to resolution number M, or letter M, resolution 2023-63-4. So I have kind of a twofold question. My first question comment is whether or not this resolution is simply symbolic, and if there's going to be any symbolic gathering of other towns or symbolic publication or submittal of this resolution anywhere. And also, my second question and comment is this committee aware of any shortage over at the school, either currently or in future? And I understand that, the budget is separately controlled, but they certainly do and would communicate with you in regards to certain finances. So I have a young child in the school, and the schools are a major concern. As a matter of fact, after I finished law school in Arizona and considered moving back here to the East Coast to be with my family, the second thing that I thought of, besides being closer to my family, was we have great schools here. And we're both active in the PTO, and so ensuring that the schools are appropriately funded is a major concern. So if this committee, if this body is aware of any concerns coming out of the school, I think that I represent a lot of voices and a lot of concerned parents in regards to any reduction in funding and any shortfalls that could result. Thank you.
Did you have a comment on M?
Just a question, should I speak now or later on?
Well, if it's on the agenda, you could speak now.
Kent Pipes, 35 Mount Laurel Road. As you are aware, I'm concerned about the action of the Land Use Board.
No, excuse me, that's not on the resolution M.
It's item number 14
No, it's not.
on your agenda, possible litigation.
It's got nothing to do with that.
I'll speak later. Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else for public participation on agenda items only? Okay, with that, we'll close public participation, and we will move on. Okay, we're going to look at ordinances. We have to approve these one at a time, John?
You do.
Okay, ordinance 2023-3, amending Chapter 104, Section 33 of our code. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to get a little more of an explanation, I guess, on that, if we could.
This is the first reading.
Do you want to make a motion, introduce, and second, and I'll explain it, because until then, it's not on the table.
Okay, all right, we need to make a motion. Okay, I'll make a motion that we do so then.
I'll second that.
Okay. So oftentimes, we have situations where developers' escrow accounts are insufficient. And, for whatever reason, they get through a hearing with an escrow deficiency, and if they're denied, for example, they don't care if they don't pay you, right? They got turned down. You actually have one where it was approved, then you have a pretty significant deficiency. Now, of course, a condition to approval is payment of all taxes, payment of all fees. But if they choose not to develop for another 2 or 3 years, then you're not going to get those fees. So as a further incentive, we have changed the developer's escrow agreement that was previously in use to include a provision that the applicant understands that in the event they fail to make the payments, and in the event that the township has to file suit to collect those monies, they're also going to be responsible for legal fees and costs. And this ordinance amends the existing sections of the code to specifically provide that the township has the right to recover legal fees and costs in the event it has to bring an action against the developer.
I've got a question too, John. Is this similar to other, to ordinance, so it's similar to other towns?
I never reinvent the wheel unless I invented the wheel in the first place.
Okay, and it can't be retroactively applied to people? No, it would only be people signing?
So that's why I want to get introduced, adopted, so anybody coming in henceforth. Now, it can apply to new applicants, right, because they're signing that agreement.
Right.
But I also want you to have the power of the ordinance behind you.
Right.
Makes good sense.
Okay, do we just do a roll call vote, or we have to have another motion?
There's a motion and a second. If there's no further questions, you can vote.
Okay, I'm going to vote?
Okay. Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Okay, ordinance 2023-4, authorizing and approving a temporary access easement agreement. This is a first reading and introduction. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Comment?
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. All right, now we're going to go to resolutions, and I got a resolution 2023-51-4, introduction of our 2023 budget. We need a motion to open this? John?
A motion.
Motion?
Yep.
Got a motion?
So
Motion.
move.
Okay. Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. All right, resolution 2023-52-4, authorizing an agreement with Electronic Recyclers Incorporated. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Resolution 2023-53-4, establishing a rate of compensation for certain positions in 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Resolution 2023-54-4, approve firefighter in the New Jersey State Firemen's Association. Can I get a motion?
Motion
I make
to-
a motion.
Second.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Resolution 2023-55-4, requesting permission for a dedication by rider for Storm Recovery Trust Fund.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Resolution 2023-56-4, authorizing the Township of Hainesport to execute agreement with Broward County for cooperative participation in a community development block grant program. Motion, please.
So move.
Second?
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Resolution 2023-57-4, authorizing issuance of bingo and raffle license to Ladies Fire EMS Auxiliary.
Motion.
Second?
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Resolution 2023-58-4, authorizing the execution of an escrow agreement with Haynes Mobile Home Park.
So move.
Second.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes.
Mayor, if you want to take IJ and K together, you could probably do that.
Okay, we're going to group IJ and K together, which is Resolution 2023-59-4, 60-4, and 61. It's basically a cancellation of taxes for certain disabled veterans.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second?
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Resolution 2023-62-4, authorizing payment number 1 of $52,632 to Macros Contractors for storm improvements.
So move.
Second?
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Resolution 2023-63-4, opposing the reduction in state aid award to Hainesport Township School, and I want to make one statement about this. I spent a lot of years on the school board, and every time we get a reduction in state aid, it ends up being a tax increase to our residents. And it's my first year being mayor so that I could actually have something said about it. So this is for the benefit of our township residents.
Can I ask a question, though, Jerry?
Sure.
If I can echo what Deborah Harris said, is it going to do anything, or is it just symbolic?
I don't know. If enough people do it, maybe it will. Maybe
Well,
it
I mean,
won't.
what nature does it take? We're just going to write a letter to Governor Murphy's?
Basically, if enough people do it, they might change their mind.
Oh, okay.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. All right, we're going to go to business, approval of business licenses. Do we have to get a motion on that, John?
Yeah.
Motion to approve business licenses?
So move.
Second?
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Okay, we're going to open the comments from the public. We're going to limit it to 5 minutes. This is on anything you'd like to speak about. Just raise your hand and tell me, come up and name and address. Anybody?
Kent Pipes, 35 Mount Laurel Road, Hainesport. I've lived in New Jersey since 1978. Moved to Willingboro, lived there 10 years. Moved to Mount Laurel, lived there 3 years. Moved to Mount Holly, lived there 10 years. I've been 25 years now in Hainesport. Each of those communities is different, but all of them should be welcoming. I was deeply disappointed and angry a week ago when the Hainesport Land Use Board denied the Beacon of Hope application. I spoke at this podium and advised the board that the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act passed by Congress in 2000, sponsored by conservative Senator Orrin Hatch and liberal Democratic Senator Ted Kennedy, a bipartisan act, tried to prevent the kind of discrimination that they faced that night. People should feel free to practice their religious beliefs in accordance with what they have deeply felt God has called them to do. Our ordinances prohibit churches in a business district on Route 38, and that was the basis, I understand, on which the Land Use Board denied the application, not even getting to the site plan considerations.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry. I missed that. The basis? I just couldn't hear, I couldn't understand what you just said.
How far can we roll it back?
That was the basis, and then I
Not a
lost
use
it.
in
Yeah.
that zone, and therefore he believes that was the basis for the denial, that churches aren't permitted
Okay.
on Route 38,
Okay.
and they never got to the site plan issue.
Okay.
Is that correct?
The federal law specifically says that churches should be allowed in any district, and the case law repeatedly across this country has supported that interpretation. The Justice Department has issued memorandums advising municipalities and counties on what is expected of the law. I wish Hainesport could have demonstrated that it's a welcoming place for all people, and especially for those who were poor and minorities. After the event, I went back and looked at the representation of our land use board. I was shocked. All Republicans except one, all white, all upper class and upper middle class, not representative of the community in which I live. The cards were stacked against them. When this case goes to appeal on a lawsuit, which I believe it's going, you're going to win hands down. You're going to lose hands down. It's clear. It's either race, creed, color, gender, disability, any of those federally protected classes. You cannot discriminate, and religion is one of them. I'm deeply sorrowful that this township's now going to have to enter into a period of litigation when I know the lawsuit is coming. I urge you, pick up the phone and make a call and say, hey, let's sit down and talk. Any way to work this out, that we can avoid litigation that's going to cost you and us. Because if they win, and they will win, you will have compensatory damages and punitive damages awarded by the court. Courts don't allow discrimination by municipalities, by individuals. Doesn't have to be overt. Discriminatory impact was ruled by the Supreme Court to be as valid as discriminatory intent. Mayor Klaus, we got to do better in this town. We got to make sure people who move into this town know, no matter who they are, they're welcome. And I encourage you, when appointees come before this board for any of the open positions, look broadly. Look beyond your own party. Look beyond your own class. Look beyond your own race. And say, we want representation from everybody to be here and their voices to be heard and them to be respected, no matter what their political, their religious, or their other beliefs are. I'm sorry to have to get up here and say this, but it's impingent upon me to at least voice my opinion. This country is supposed to be with liberty and justice for all, as we just said in our Pledge of Allegiance. They didn't get it. Let's try to figure out how to make it right. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yes.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. Deborah Playa, 50 Bancroft Lane, Hainesport. I have a question about the, one of the ordinances that's listed on page 1. Ordinance B, 2023-4, authorizing and approving a temporary access easement agreement with PMS Roman numeral 2 LLC for a portion of property currently known as Block 100, lots 10 and 11. I didn't see a copy of the ordinance, but correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that Block 100, lots 10 and 11, isn't that a portion of the Kleiner property? And if I'm also correct, that's also where the Diamantis application, their developer, wants to use public property to put an easement, well, they were granted an easement to put in a pipe that's going to run to the Rancocas Creek. And I was just wondering, you know, if this ordinance is connected with that. I didn't see a copy of it. And also, I just noted, because I did research who PMS Roman numeral 2 LLC is, Interestingly, it's the registered agent. I suspect the managing member is Tristan Silk. So I just wondered, what limited access did he need for that block and lot? I don't know if maybe you don't have the answer to that question, but I also wondered what business that they're in, that they would be using public property. It appears to me it's public property they're using public property for private means. So I just had questions about that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Anybody else? No? Okay. Okay, come on.
Good evening, Paul Bush, Chief of Hainesport Emergency Squad, Captain James McKenzie, President Rob Clay. Myself and Captain McKenzie met with you guys in January, and we said that we had some good things on the horizon, so we just wanted to bring you up to par on what our things on the horizon is. As of Monday, April 17th, your Hainesport Volunteer Emergency Squad will be staffing a duty crew for 7 nights a week. We have an entire plethora of new members that have come through, have all successfully passed our EMT class, which I said in January we were moving towards that, and we just wanted to bring it and say, you know, I told you Rome can't be built in a day. We just needed a little bit of time, and we've delivered on our promise. The squad's back, it's rejuvenated. We're just waiting for finalizing the schedule. Our meeting's Monday night, the 17th, and that's when we're initiating our duty crew policy. So your Hainesport ambulance will be getting out 7 nights a week, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Give or take, you know, obviously somebody doesn't hear their pager go off, we might miss one here or there, but generally it's not going to be what it was with that long spell that we had. We are still pushing forward, we just don't want to commit our daytime response, because obviously we work during the day, but it looks like 2 to 3 days a week we should have volunteers in town to staff the truck during the day. So big differences in your volunteer squad. Volunteerism's not dead, it just needs to be managed properly. And here's my proof. Most of them Hainesport residents.
Excuse me, Chief Bush, if I may, over here. Over here. Hi. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm the administrator. I know we haven't met yet, so very nice to meet you. Just curious, if we haven't received an actual written report from the emergency squad since December, is it possible that you can provide us with a report?
Sure, I wasn't aware you guys wanted one. I can have one sent to you every month.
Yeah, we've been receiving those for about 6 years now.
Okay.
So if you could, that would be wonderful.
I believe Richie might have been handling that, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he was.
Him and Rob kind of swapped out, so.
Okay.
But I can make sure I get you one over.
Great, yeah, so we can see some metrics and
Yep, no worries.
statistics, that would be very helpful.
Our numbers you're going to see increase substantially now from what it was previously.
What was it?
We were hoping like the 30 percentile getting out,
Okay.
which we were getting out 30% with people that don't live in Hainesport. Mr. Clay drives an hour to come staff your ambulance here in Hainesport. Ms. Stewart just came here from Hamilton to staff your ambulances because a lot of agencies in the state are losing their volunteer squads.
Sure.
So people are being forced to, who still want to give back and give back to a community, are forcing to drive far. We just accepted an application from Bordentown because they're losing their volunteer squads. And we're starting to be seen and visible, so they see it as a viable option. On May 23rd, we're doing an EMS open house to celebrate EMS week. We're going to, the public's being invited to send a notice to the schools, bring their kids, kind of like what the fire departments used to do in October. We're doing it with the EMS. I know a couple people were kind of given a little bit of a forewarning about our newest recruitment tool. His name is TQ. For those who may have heard, you may want, he's a mascot that will be appearing. His birthday, he will be birthed on that Tuesday when TQ comes out.
Is it a surprise what this mascot is? Is that?
So
Okay.
he is.
I don't want to blow the
No,
surprise.
he's a mascot. His job is to, every red blood cell counts. He's there to stop bleeding. His name is TQ for tourniquet. His job is to give tourniquets and save lives.
Great.
So that's one of the things that we're going to launch on the 23rd of May. So a lot of different things happening for your squad. You have different managers, different leaders. We have a lot of ideas.
Sure. And just so the residents know that even though you're not able to make it out to more than 30% of the calls at this point, there is a response happening. Like their response is Mount Holly.
Yeah, so
and
right now,
Lumberton.
and we will be looking to mend some changes after the 17th. Currently, right now, every ambulance call that's requested in the Township of Hainesport immediately has our volunteers being detailed to every assignment, along with either Lumberton Emergency Squad or the Mount Holly Emergency Squad, pending their availability, which if one's not available, we get the other. If that was not available, we get the other. So the average ambulance response time in the township is under 13 minutes, well below the national average. So even with our inabilities initially for a very long growth spurt, we are making leaps and bounds to change that. When we have our duty crews up, our response time is about 4 to 5 minutes. So obviously our goal is now you're going to have a better service than having to mutually come from Mount Holly at America or Lumberton.
And just for clarification, because I'm not sure, they do bill for services?
They bill, we do not. They bill for, if they come to your house, they bill for patient contact, which means if you still choose not to go to the hospital, they bill you a smaller nominal fee for their time. We do not bill any residents whatsoever. We solely go off of our donations and the contribution by the council.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good news. And thank you all the volunteers.
Won't fall. Jim and Michelle Perscavage, 51 Easton Way in Hainesport, Chase. Basically, looking for any kind of update on the fire situation, the fire department.
Emergency response.
Yeah, the emergency response.
Yeah.
The assessment that we had done last year, has that been finalized? No? Is there any, is it going to be finalized? Is there any plan to get it finalized? Is there any timeline on when that might be?
Sure, I do expect it within the next month or two.
Okay. Okay. Any other updates with the fire department itself? I see there was a resolution in here to approve a firefighter into New Jersey State Firemen's Association. I'm assuming that's a positive thing.
That is
I don't know
positive.
what it's all about, but anything to update on what the goings-on over at the fire department or anything?
Not really. I think everything's the status quo as far as I know, so.
What's the plan once you have the assessment? Yeah, are you gonna, I mean, typically those things are gonna come with a bunch of recommendations. Is there gonna be an evaluation of those recommendations? Is that stuff gonna be, made public or anything? Are you gonna act on any of those recommendations? That's kind of the question. I don't know the answer.
I don't know the evaluation yet, so I can't comment on what's going to be done, but if there's a
Yeah,
corrective action plan that will be developed, we'll develop one, and then we'll find out if it's, if it could be shared or not.
Right.
At this point, we're kind of we don't know at this point.
Yeah, you're gonna wait for it, get it, you guys are gonna meet together, you're gonna assess all that, and then go from there.
The goal is to improve things.
Yeah,
That's our goal.
yeah,
All
exactly. Okay,
right?
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is that Katie?
Yeah.
Catherine McNellis, 407 Bischoff Avenue. I was wondering if you found out anything, what we talked about last month?
We haven't put anything together yet, but we will be.
It will be. Are we going to be able to get that closet in there?
I can't make that determination at this point, but after we meet and get together, we'll make that determination.
Well, we have like 4 weeks, 4 different meetings that we can get our stuff together for the yard sale. Usually we do it most of the year, but because the COVID and everything, we haven't been able to do it for a long time. But we always had that closet for our yard sale. And
My understanding that it was being. that the
Donna wants
chairs were
half of
coming
it.
out of it, too.
We'll see if we can get you that.
I can't hear you, Leila.
It's my understanding that the chairs either have been or are being taken out of the closet.
Yes,
so
I
that you
did
can
hear
use-
that the chairs are coming out. But Donna needed the kitchen, half of the kitchen, and she took that. and there's a couple empty cabinets out there. She only has a few things in that closet. She could put them in that other closet out in the kitchen, then we could have the closet for all of our stuff. I don't see where it's a problem. And as you and Paul have pointed out, this is a community center, not a senior center. I wonder when you'll realize that we are a very large part of this community. And I'm sure that we use that building more than probably anybody else does.
Well, actually, the building is available at night for the emergency squad for their duty crew, and it has been available for the past year, and they've just made a commitment
The other
to...
closet.
Well, I'm just saying in general, with the use of the community center, they're going to, it sounds to me like they're going to be committed to staffing it 7 nights a week for duty crew. So there's going to be volunteers in there every night for seven days of the week.
Okay.
Moving forward. So I know that they do also,
need the closet
we have to consider, we have to keep into consideration what their needs are too, but we can work it out. We can work it out. I know Veterans Group utilize the building, a lot of other groups do utilize the building, so it sounds like
Did you say the veterans?
yes, veterans groups use the building. There are several different organizations that utilize that building as well. It's not just for recreation, but it is available for public use, public consumption as
It
well.
won't be in the other room, just in the room that we use.
I'm not sure, specifics, but there are a lot of organizations that use
It'd be
it.
nice if we knew for sure, so we know where we stand. We've had that community center was for the seniors for many years. I don't remember exactly when the state police came into the township and took this room. That's when our 2 brown tables were taken. And that's when we got that big table. Bruce made it, and he does remember making it. And he made it for the seniors. So it's actually our table, not your table. And I also had a box in here for the veterans for many years, and it was moved out of the foyer because they were painting, and then when the painting was done, it was never brought back. And since that day, I have not got one item for the vets. Now, leave us not forget, just because there's not a big war right this minute, we still have a lot of veterans out there that need help. And I'd really like to see that box come back out again, but I guess it'll never happen. I mean, I took a lot of stuff to Veterans Haven from that box. And we sent hundreds of boxes to Desert Storm with all hundreds of items in each box. In fact, one of the letters that was on there was from them, thanking us for them. So, I don't know why, because I have a big mouth and come up and say what I think. Is that why anything I have to say ends up being put in the back room or taken out of the building? It's really frustrating.
Well,
We've had this club for 35 years, and that table was in that room for at least 10.
all right, Katie, I'm going to have to, we've talked about the table. I'm trying to limit everybody to 5 minutes. I'm not trying to be rude.
Oh,
But I am, and I think.
Now,
we
maybe
should-
if I was talking about pickleball.
No, but I want to give everybody a chance to get their 5 minutes in, if you don't mind. Thank you. Is there anybody else?
My name is Karen Torty for Easton Way. I have 2 brief comments that I would like to make. First, as a 26-year resident of Hainesport, I'm here to encourage this committee to continue your past budgeting policies that have allowed us to become debt-free and to keep our taxes low. Having no township debt puts extra cash in our pockets. And I would also like to commend our past committees and our township professionals for being proactive and developing the taxable businesses and policies that have kept our municipal taxes below the 6.5 rate of inflation. Please keep up the good work and keep government small. Secondly, on a more personal note, upon reviewing the February Township Committee meeting, I would like to thank Committeewoman Gilmore for taking the time to pass along the appreciation from the Have a Heart program for the shoebox donations for the homeless. It was great to hear the details that 100 boxes were collected and distributed on February 11th. My students and I have participated in this program for 2 years, and to them it is more than just collecting personal care items. This year, my students decorated their boxes with hearts and stickers and also included Valentines with handwritten messages inside of them. They really put their thoughts and efforts into trying to make them special. So in teaching these 8-year-olds the importance of community service, it will be very helpful for them to hear how much they were appreciated. And I look forward to sharing these messages with my class on Monday. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did a great job. All the kids.
Yes, sir.
Just tell her it's not related to.
Yeah, my name is Bud Burns, 2515 Fostertown Road. I've been a resident here since 1978. Seen a lot of changes. But, right now I'm a little frustrated, and I'm frustrated for that woman back there. Why can't we just say next month we'll have an answer for her? I sat here last month, and heard her say the same thing. She's not asking for gold. She just wants an answer, and she's not getting it. It's not fair to her. I'm a senior citizen too. I don't go over there, but I'd be a little upset. And I don't know who this Donna is. Is everybody afraid of her? I mean, all she's asking for is an answer. That's it. Am I right? That's what you want, an answer, right? What you can do. All right? That's all I have to say. So maybe next month when she comes up here again, you have an answer for her. She might not like it, but you have an answer for her. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to see that door fixed because it doesn't work for kids disabled going in and out. The door doesn't work, and I've asked for 2 years to have it fixed.
Okay, is there any more comments, public participation? With that, we'll close public participation.
2 years I've tried to get you fixed.
Okay. Okay, can we get comments from the administrator?
I have no comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, how about from our attorney, solicitor?
Just one thing, if I can answer Ms. Playa's question briefly. The easement, and there'll be more information at the public hearing on that ordinance, but it has nothing to do with the Amontes and the R&M. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, comments from the committee. We'll start on my left with Ann.
Hello. So I wanted to thank Donna Casey and all of the volunteers who made the Easter egg hunt such a wonderful success. I know I enjoyed it, and I think everyone else on the committee did too. I'd also like to congratulate Paul Bush and the EMS crew for doing such a great job of getting back up to speed and up to full strength, and look forward to hearing those reports in months to come. Today, I met with Janice Ludden and Paula Uland of the Environmental Commission to move the Sustainable Jersey project forward, which is, as you all know, very dear to my heart. Now, we will be looking for 2 to 3 citizen volunteers to join the green team. So I'll be putting a call for volunteerism out in the next e-newsletter, which is another exciting development that the Township Committee is doing, and also on the Hainesport Township website. But if anyone has already decided that they are desperate to be part of the Green Team, please shoot me a letter of interest. You can find my email address on the Township website. Finally, well, not quite finally actually, but almost finally, I have an idea, and I've been running it past a few people on the committee and also our wonderful township administrator, that I think, in light of the fact that Hainesport Township turns 100 in 2024, we should have a contest for the residents to design a 100th anniversary logo. I'm not really sure how we go about moving that idea forward, but I just wanted to put it out there and see if everyone thought that that was a good idea. I think it should be open only to residents. Hopefully it'll encourage some young people to get involved with their excellent design skills. Really, finally, I just wanted to say that the easement is to do with some very exciting, to be revealed in a very few months, developments at Creek Turn Park. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so I hope everyone had a great Easter and Passover. I wanted to thank our residents for attending our Easter Day event. There must have been, I guess, between 200 or 300 people in attendance, and I think they all had a great time. A special thank you to our volunteer fire department and EMTs and our state police for making it even more special. My final thank you goes to the ever-tired and worn volunteers who prep, set up, break down the events. You never see them, but without them, nothing like this happens. If any residents want to help with these programs, please call our township and leave a message for our recreation director, Donna Casey. It was also good to see all our committee members there. Regarding Hainesport debt, Hainesport is a town surrounded by other towns whose debt ranges from approximately $10 million to $42 million. What this means is that a conservative 2.5% interest on these amounts, their residents will have to pay back their borrowed amounts of $10 million and $42 million, plus, in the first instance, $250,000, and in the second instance, $1,062,778 respectively. That is their cost of borrowing. By responsible budget management, Hainesport has managed to maintain a very stable municipal rate and is debt-free. So you can see what it ends up saving us over the course of the years and what we were able to purchase by just paying for it with responsible budgeting. So regarding school funding, the state provides school funding through the taxes that we pay. This is our money going into the state. Hainesport School students and parents are, in my mind, regularly punished for doing a great job with their children in the form of funding deductions. The state appears to be, has a surprise giant budget surplus, which is strange because most of the time budgets are supposed to be planned. But hey, that's a great job. It's nice to have. Furthermore, our school has its own budgetary needs, and if not met with current funds, will have to be met through tax increases to our residents. For these reasons, I urge all of our committee members to support Resolution 2023-63-4, opposing the reduction in state aid awards to our Hainesport Public Schools. Doing so supports our Hainesport schools, students, parents, and the taxpayers of Hainesport. And just to get an idea of the deductions that we've encountered over the course of since 2019. In 2019, we had a I'm just going to round these off. 2019, we had a $37,000 deduction. In 2020, we had an $85,000 deduction. In 2021, we had a $127,000 deduction. In 2022, we had a $168,000 deduction. And in 2023, we had a $138,000 deduction. And in 2024, we have a proposed $78,000, almost $79,000 deduction. This money we could use. Thank you.
Leila?
Just wanted to thank everyone for attending and remind everyone that Saturday, the 22nd, is Community Cleanup Day from 7 to 12 at the Street Community Center in the surrounding parking lot. It's also Earth Day, and this year we're celebrating it here the same day, the 22nd, from 9 to 12 at the Pavilion. We're expecting several different activities to occur, lots of things for the children, including a scavenger hunt and planting, recycling, making things out of recycled material and such. And of course, we also have a special guest reading to the children. It should be a great event. The Easter event went off just smashing, even though it was a week late. The Bunny and Scrunchy, the ShopRite Bear, did a great job, and we appreciate ShopRite for their contributions to the event. Just thank you, and have a great evening.
Ken, what's next?
I also would like to thank ShopRite and this, having the bear come and join the Easter Bunny. A lot of people, yeah, it would be nice to have a count of that. So I wish everybody a happy Easter and a blessed Passover. Nice to see the police and the fire and the EMTs there. Great to see all that. I want to make a comment on the budget. Again, a flat increase based on everything that we're doing. And one of the residents had just mentioned that inflation being at 6.5% and we're at 2.2 increase. One of the things which is less than $1 a month increase for the average home residents. The thing we just want to remind everyone is we're keeping this flat from the total budget, but we only represent 14%, roughly, of what is collected from all of us, because it's from the schools, it's from the county, there's a number of other things. So even more of a concern when our schools are being handcuffed with things. We were fortunate that our employees are great in getting grants. We have almost $350,000 in grants, and that add to that we're collecting. So good job for the employees there. I want to commend Chief Bush and what he's doing with EMS and encourage everyone to attend on May 23rd. I guess we're going to get more information on that. So volunteerism obviously has picked up quite a bit in Hainesport, so that's great news. I'd like to also make a mention of just something that, obviously the public can comment on things that are on the agenda, and then they can comment on anything they want. If they want to talk about the Civil War, they can talk about the Civil War, 5 minutes. And it's unfortunate when we do have to say to someone, hey, listen, it's needless time for everyone else. Everyone needs to get home to their families. We need to make room for everyone else to talk. So it's uncomfortable when the mayor has to say, I'm sorry, but you're over your time. But we have to do that, unfortunately, to be fair to everybody, especially when things are repeated. Some things. So certainly understand people are upset about things, and they have every right to make those statements here. And we encourage them. We want to hear what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, those things. I really would like to encourage people before they make broad sweeping comments to do their research. And some things are so hard to research, I find it hard to believe that comments are made on a broad group of people. That in itself is discriminatory and et cetera. So I'd just like to encourage you to be careful when you're pointing fingers, because when you do, there are 3 fingers pointing back at yourself, so be careful. And other than that, I would wish everyone a nice evening. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say Anna's idea on the logo I like, and I think we should present that to the committee. One of the things I'd like the committee to do is see if we can get the school involved with developing a criteria for the logo, and let the committee approve it, and let the 100th anniversary committee approve it, and then bring it to the township committee. So I think that's a good start, and at that point, we'll find out, how we're going to make that work. But, all right, does that work? Everybody? Yeah, okay. Good. The Easter egg hunt went fabulous. It was very well done. We have great employees, the residents and all, the children, they were excellent. It was really nice. Could have been a little warmer, but it was pretty good, okay? So, but other than that, I want to thank you all for coming, and we're going to pay some bills.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can we get a motion to pay the bills?
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yep.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes, and it's my understanding we have no executive session?
We do not need Resolution 64-4.
Okay, so then can I get a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.